What is the most unprofessional thing a doctor has said to you? Broke a bone in my foot. Knew that I had broken a bone in my foot. Went to the doctor and he told me that I didn't break a bone in my foot but instead was suffering from gout. I'm not even in the realm of people that experience gout and had zero other signs that it could have been gout. He was going to refuse my request for an x-ray but I made him do it. An hour later, I'm in his office and he holds up the x-ray and informs me that I broke a bone in my foot. I went into urgent care with mastitis. I'd had it twice before and it's very obvious to self-diagnose when part of your breast turns red, hard, and hot to the touch while breastfeeding. The guy wasn't yet a doctor, but was doing some practice at the urgent care. When I told him I had mastitis, he looked at me and said, "Wow, that's an awfully big word. Where'd you learn that?" Quote, I was 30. If I hadn't been very sick at that moment, I might have kicked him in the teeth. Resident doc interviewing me before regular doc came in to insert my IUD. "Any chance you are pregnant?" Me, "No." Doc, "How do you know?" Me, "I haven't had sex since November. It was July by now." Doc, shocked, "Why haven't you have sex? Don't you live with your partner?" Me, "I don't have a partner." Doc, "Then why do you want an IUD?" Me, "I'm really hoping the last time wasn't the last time." I had severe cystic acne, and the conventionally attractive, young female doctor with perfect skin and a full face of makeup refused to prescribe me something, and instead told me that I shouldn't feel bad about having acne, because appearance didn't matter and personality is all that counts. It took me several years to find a doctor who took me seriously. Got my hormonal levels tested and put me on Spiro. But that one woman was by far the worst. I went home and cried after. Was sent to a pain therapist to help me manage the pain I was having that my incompetent doctor at the time couldn't diagnose. I later had to have spinal surgery and now have a titanium plate holding things together. The pain therapist told me that I was faking my pain to get attention. Really? And that she would eventually break me and force me to tell her that my father sexually abused me. WTF. I was in the middle of having a long-time mental episode and I attempted suicide. The therapist who was admitting me to the psych ward told me he'd sue me if I ever tried what I did again. "You were spurting blood everywhere. Like a horror movie." He said this with a big smile on his face and was laughing. Apparently the procedure they did to resolve a mistake they made during my C-section turned into life-saving open surgery, which cost me my ability to ever have kids again. Not only did they do the wrong procedure, they slipped up and punctured an organ in the process. I bled out, stopped breathing due to over-medication, and, yeah, I was in the darkest place of my life and the mofo who caused it all was laughing. Wasn't so funny when I sued him and won. I took my then 4-year-old daughter to a pediatric gastroenterologist. First he said she's just being dramatic. Then he said, "Well, she'll get married someday and be someone else's problem." That was 25 years ago, and it still shocks me. Turned out she had a partial bowel obstruction. I have cystic fibrosis but have also had a transplant. He was the only adult CF doctor for hours around me. My CF team and transplant team are supposed to communicate and work together. He always refused to listen to me and would tell other doctors I didn't get tests done that I had, which caused one surgery to be cancelled until I managed to show them I did get the test done. When confronted for the millionth time, he told me he didn't care, he was the only specialist around. He didn't want to deal with such a difficult case and would rather I just go ahead and die. Reported him, but nothing came of it since it was my word against his. You have cute soft breasts, and then proceeded to smile at me. A male doctor said this to me. I'd gone in for a checkup. Thankfully my GP took my complaint seriously and he was fired as I wasn't the first to complain about him. I was at the doctor for strep throat symptoms. I had just moved, so I was seeing a new doctor for the first time. He walks in, is looking at my chart, doesn't look up and tells me you're 7 pounds overweight. You need to lose weight. I was 112 pounds. I wasn't educated about consent, but I knew that something in my relationship wasn't okay. I was expressing to my therapist that I was feeling pressured into doing things I didn't want to do. And he told me, while there are some expectations that exist in a relationship, and that's what boys want, you have to give in a relationship. I later learned about consent and realized I had been assaulted by my incredibly abusive and controlling partner. I don't have time to talk to you about health issue. He said this in an exasperated tone when I explained why I scheduled the appointment, and this is after entering the room 45 minutes after my appointment time. I was brought back and put in the room on time. And after he'd spent 20 minutes or so in the hallway outside the door talking football with the patient he saw just before me. I was trying to get tested for ADHD, and before that the doctor has to see if I'm lying or whatever. So this is what happened. I enter the room, not yet sat down. Doctor, Miss Ninja? You're here about suspected ADHD? Me, now sat down. Yes, drive. Doctor, okay, and why are you coming so late in life about it? People only develop ADHD as kids. It's highly unlikely you have it. Me, nervous and uncomfortable as I felt like he was wanting me to leave already despite just planting my butt on seat. My parents just thought I was a weird kid. Doctor, well, give me all your symptoms. Me, fidgeting with my hands and hair because I fidget a lot. I get distracted very easily. I struggle to keep focus. Forgets everything I've researched when I know I have a lot of symptoms. Doctor, well, you don't have ADHD then, goodbye. Me, doctor, please. I know I have it. Give me more than 5 seconds to think. Doctor, fine. Write on paper and bring it to reception when ya can. Now goodbye, Miss Ninja. The unprofessionalism was how he treated me almost straight off the bat. I've been doctors loads and everyone gives you time to think and also type the obvious even if you seem to forget. Like here, the fidgeting and forgetting. Another unprofessionalism was how he wanted me out the door almost as soon as I got in. I was in 3 minutes when patients are allowed up to 15 minutes for their slot. I don't know if what I've read is true, but I know adults can still get tested, so he shouldn't have been so dismissive about it all. That's normal in your line of work. Just ignore it. The pain will go away. I went in for shoulder pain, as my left shoulder would be killing me after a day loading trucks all day. This was an ongoing thing for weeks before I went to get it checked. Didn't examine my shoulder. Didn't have any x-rays done. CAT scans done. MRIs done. Nothing. Hell, didn't even have me take my shirt off. Turns out that I had a torn rotator cuff. Had another doc tell me that the stomach pain that had me pissing myself, throwing up, and passing out was from gas. Again, without any type of examination, just listening to the symptoms. 2 days later I was dying on the OR table from a necrotic appendix. I was 14 and the doctor was looking at my chart and saw my weight. She asked if I had rocks in my pockets, insinuating that I was heavy. I was average for my age, height, and that comment destroyed me. She was a very petite woman that I was of course taller than, and she had the audacity to make a comment like that to a young girl that was already insecure as it was. 17 years later and I still want to kick her ass. Went in for knee surgery at 21. Naked except for the hospital gown. I had to sit up and bend forward for the anesthesiologist. Back of the gown undone and just holding it to my chest, he started stroking my back and said, "I usually have to do this to fat people or pregnant bitches. Nice to do this on someone young and skinny for once." I then went under. I woke up numb from the waist down, in a different colored gown, and completely creeped out. That either I cheated or my husband did, because that kind of cervical pain was always chlamydia. It was an ectopic pregnancy that ruptured and resulted in emergency life-saving surgery. But thanks for listening. My personal OB happened to be at the hospital that night and came to tell me the news herself, giving him the angriest look I've ever seen in a professional setting. Went to an insurance approved on GYN who explained my bad periods as, "Well, that's because Eve made Adam bit the apple and it's God's punishment for women." Needless to say, I went to another doctor who took the time to test me and found out I had endometriosis. I had an army doctor tell me to get over having a TBI.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epicaricast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.